Dawkins here again for the third straight Sunday. And she's doing some fabulous things. And I got to know her, and she's a fabulous person too. So with that, Sarah, please say hello to the audience.
Hi, everybody, and it's great to be back with Don and everybody that's with us today. What's everybody been up to? Who's there with us? Let us know in the chat. Have you got any questions? How can we help you today?
Yeah, well, we're here for you. And
absolutely,
we're here for you. Sarah, what have you noticed about your own podcast that you have, moving forward? And it sounds like you're doing fabulous. And that's something people should plug into, is watch Sarah on her podcast, and everybody can learn and grow together. Yeah. What are you seeing about this program as well as what you're doing and where it could lead?
What I'm seeing with this program is it's organic, and like you said, the people in the chat lead the conversation, and it grows from there. My own podcast, I haven't quite launched it yet. I'm looking at launching it very, very soon. And what it is people who have naturally healed themselves coming forwards. So some of those people are from my book, some of the people are from my course, and some of the people, Don, are guests from here, from your LinkedIn, who have been guests with you, who have been in your chat. So for me, it's about helping people to understand that we can naturally heal. And I'm pre-recording my podcast so that when I launch, I can get it out there. And the time isn't really an issue. I don't have to worry about timing because it's all pre-recorded. But like you, my aim is to help people to help themselves. Because this is why we're here, isn't it? We're not just here to go, spouting off information. We're here to be guided. What do people want from us? How can we serve you? How can we help you? But not just our advice to you. It's about what can you take from our conversation that helps you, enables you to help yourself. Because learning and healing comes from within. And we can take so much from other people, but ultimately we have to then go away and take that on board and grow it and learn more from it. But it's us that does the healing. It's us that does the learning. We can only be guided, but ultimately we've got to come back to ourselves.
Yeah, and that's where you always end up at the end of the day, no matter what you planned or didn't do that day. And I believe the key is there's so much being taken in that the ability to exhaust it is limited. And that's where I think a lot of people are having very serious challenges, right? Is they're absorbing more than they're able to release. And by having a forum or a platform like this, and then being able to go off with people who are closer to your situation and timing or situation that you can relate to, and more importantly, trust. Right? It's the trust factor that people won't judge. You won't feel worse if anything, they'll do their best to make it more comfortable for you.
Yeah.
And that's what this program can do, because we're plugging into two things. 875 million members, right? This is not just Zoom, right? This is not just getting a message out. This is getting a message out within the members that can get exposed to it. And if 10 or 20 or 40 people do things by plan instead of accident, right? Who know that, what I'm creating with this new collaboration group, I'm putting the final touches on, is like a group collaboration message on LinkedIn, where 40 people or 30 people can share, hey, here's what's going on a voluntary basis, looking at actually going to work on real problems, but more importantly, proficiency. I see so many people, their profiles, their background pictures, I mean, they don't tag, they don't poll, they don't post, it's more they don't.
Yeah.
And why is it? Because a lot of people don't know. And when they do it, nothing happens. Right? So you start stop pulling the trigger if nothing's coming out, and you sit. And then you sit with everybody else who's sitting, right?
Yes.
But no one's going anywhere. You're just having, trade a picture. Here's a good comment or a quote. It's all nice, but most people don't want nice right now, right? They want results.
Yeah.
Right? They want action. So, anyways, I think this is a great program, and actually, it started out with me wanting to build proficiency. And my early LinkedIn lives were 8 ways to comment, 6 weeks. It's just all this stuff. But when you go to every day, how many more profile revelations could you have each day to keep talking about it? But when you bring the human condition in, every day is limitless by everybody's experience. And that's where this moved to, but it didn't take the place of knowing best practices. And what I love about it is all I do is share what I do and how I do it, and what I get from it, and I get it the same day. So it's like Polaroid. If you get used to be same day results, I mean, that tells you something. I don't see hardly any comments. I'm really surprised at that. I hope everything is working well. In the meantime, I do see that we're live, so that's an encouraging thing. And maybe people are so into what we have to say today that they're interested in that. So, what's your thoughts towards that, Sarah?
I think you're doing great coming out as a live every day, because you sharing your knowledge with anybody that comes to listen, and all we can do is share what we know and hope that people can take that, or take some of that resonates with them, and build on it.
Mm-hmm.
And by showing up every day, people know that you are going to be on here at 9. Is it 9 o'clock your time?
Sure is.
Oh, refresh. We've got tons of comments coming in, Alex says.
Okay. I'm going to reload if you don't see me for a second.
Oh, I think it's just me.
Okay, I'm back. I'm on the other side now.
You are.
I actually lost a message probably. But in the meantime, what I'll do when Sarah's talking, I'll go to the post itself and see the messages that are being posted there. So whatever you message, or you can do it again. I didn't know what reload was, but learning as we're going. With that said, Alex, we have tons of comments coming in. Great. It's nice to have Alex as a moderator.
Because we don't see them, do we?
Yeah, I'm afraid to do anything else. Okay. Chat. No. Okay. Well, anyways, social comments display here. You can see I'm still hitting button. But with getting back to what we're saying, I think you can chat now. Let me look. Christine, say any experience this week that people want to hear about.
Oh, isn't it great going live and not having the control?
Well, this is a teaching and learning experience too.
Isn't it just? For both of us, Don.
Yeah, everybody's going to go through this in one shape or form, and that's the beauty of live.
We've just got Alex and Dean and Andrea on the messages on screen.
Okay, okay. I've got them. I'll read them if they don't come up. So Jenny Maxwell, who is just unbelievable, and really has grown with this show. She says your mindset is your superpower, Donald Cohn. If you choose to use it positively, you're on to a winner. Christine Feed, you need to put in the work to heal. No one can do that for you. I think it's good to look at our role without beating ourselves up. We need to change for things to change.
Yeah.
Andrea says, hi, both. Andrea just knocked it out of the park the other way. She was so much fun and so inspiring. And I know you and Andrea have a relationship. Can you speak to that?
Yes, I met Andrea through LinkedIn quite a few months ago, actually, maybe even nearly a year ago. And I reached out to Andrea because she's a self-love coach. And I asked her if she wanted to write a guest article for my course, Heal Yourself at Home. And she did. She wrote the article. And then I did it was a LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook Live over StreamYard back in January. And Andrea was one of the guests, one of the 15 people who wrote articles for my course. So I've got to know Andrea quite well because she's also just pre-recorded on Friday to be on my podcast as well. So I've had several conversations with Andrea, and she's just a bubble of joy to be with. She's just so lovely. And Jenny too, Jenny Maxwell. I've got to know Jenny over the time, and Jenny's also written for my course as well. And it is, as Jenny says, it's absolutely my.
I think you might have froze, Sarah, but you're absolutely right. We're starting to attract just unbelievable people with unbelievable stories, and now they're connecting, and now that's expanding. So, I'll go over some of the other comments that we have. Christine says, even with company posts, often only other people in the company give likes or comments. I mentioned that to my manager, who I like, and he said, because nobody cares, but people do care. We're missing the mark, even though we are a blue chip company. So right, everything, there's a saying, time will either promote you or expose you. And the best thing you can ever do is get in front of things that are going to come out anyways, and really, take charge. We have Hamadou and Sumana from greetings from Sierra Leone. Let me bring, well, not yet. Technical problem. Dean LeBay says proactive. Judith Ojensevi, greetings from Finland. Okay, Alex, refresh. Andrea, to you, Donald. Kudos to you. Thank you, Andrea. Love to have Andrea back on the show again. Judith says, hi, Poonam. Poonam's here like every day. I can't thank you enough. And he's in India. This message is universal, has no boundaries. Chris Marshall says, hi. Dean LeBay makes you accountable. Poonam, hi, Judith. A lot of highs. That's great. Nothing like friendship, especially on a morning that, at least out in Colorado. And those are really most of the comments. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're back again. So now we're 1-1. We both had a technical issue, but we're back. The comments are coming through. The good news is that, and you can see that, is that us commenters can see each other. That's right. If you go to the post on my screen, or Andrea's, actually my screen, my profile, you'll see all the comments to the post. Andrea says hello. Judith, I got to come other time again. This is my first time, though we have been connected for so long. Yeah, Judith is out in, I just mentioned her, Finland, I believe. So, actually the crowd that we're attracting is really, again, Mario's from Marseille, Jenny's might as well be in Dublin for her beauty as far as where she comes from and how she celebrates. Christine, I really love live TV, but Sarah looks blurry now. Feed isn't great. Yeah. And that's one good thing about having two. At least there's someone to pick it up when there's a little issue. But most of these, I tend to believe, can be fixed just by using one's telephone, and that seems to be a better connection. This is Alex saying this is probably my 10th joining to many more. Thanks, Alex. Alex is a really nice guy and really is trying to work hard to continue to improve. Hi, we're back. This is better, I think. Can't hear you though. No, the microphone isn't working, Sarah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, my apologies. I don't know why it's not working on my computer.
Well, it's not an issue with me because I go through this every day making mistakes. But you know, you figure them out by just going through them, and that gives somebody some preparation for going LinkedIn Live. You know, the comments are coming in fast and furious now. So yeah, you know,
I can't see any comments because I'm on my phone now. So I'll just have to you'll have to bear with me, and I'll have to answer them if you read them out.
You'll get them when everybody else gets them then. Okay, we're back over here. Okay, we're back. This is it. This is it. We'll lock it in and make this good. So yeah, what you were saying about every day, it makes you stronger because really you're just swinging out of yesterday and you're swinging back into today. You know, by the time I get back to everybody, do the comments, do the posts, now I'm doing a newsletter, a post, you know, before it, you know, tagging after it. You know, it's like baking a cake, you know, you just want to start adding more little things to it. And it just comes together in such a beautiful way. And people appreciate it, you know, and when people appreciate it, you appreciate yourself more. Right. And now you've got somebody to serve, you know, and to your earlier point, Sarah, is when everybody tells you what they want and need, then you're just focused on providing it. When you have to figure it out, when you have to test all these things, half of your work is spent just figuring out what it is you do, and that gives you only half the time to do what you should have been doing all the time. So, you know, by just saying what you want, and what we're providing is thought and conversation. You know, it's not a heavy load, but it's an intriguing one. And to see how far this can go, you know, you ever play dominoes, like where you put one and you got hundreds of them and they just flop one on and one. I think that's what we got going here. So what do you think, Sarah? Almost. We'll get there.
I don't signal.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you but you're getting frozen.
I think we have to sorry, we have to keep building on what we've started with, and as long as we put the foundations in and do some work on ourselves, for example, is social media channels end up as echo chambers, as people only join with people who are like-minded. I think sometimes we need other people's opinions to keep us grounded, because it's so easy just to go down the line of, well, I'll only join these people because they think the same as me, because then you're not really remaining open-minded. You stay on the same channel with the same focus. Whereas if you meet other people, like on LinkedIn, like we're doing now, people from all sorts of backgrounds with all sorts of
Well, I think
ideas and beliefs, so as to open.
Yeah, I think that, you know, what you're saying is so important. And again, I always try to preface that it's coming, what we have here is distilled from 875 million people. And what we have here is great. You know, I mean, 30, 40 core people, and then 5, 6 times more who view it afterwards and then see it every day. So if you're seeing by 400 people a day, every day, that's 2,800 people a week. That's 11,000 visitors a month. And then they have friends. And so I'm saying that this number will get bigger as that number comes closer to what we're doing here. Because it's really, in my opinion, one of the biggest challenges of LinkedIn is messaging. There's too many people are doing it the wrong way, or are too salesy, or too superficial, or too whatever, too. But it's usually for selfish reasons. Andrea's wishing Christine good luck on her test. Well, Christine says, we all need honesty. Other people who don't co-sign our bullshit and call us out, or else it's like the emperor has new clothes story. Yeah, you know,
Yes.
Go ahead, Christine. Looks like you're coming through better.
Do you mean Sarah?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. You know, one thing I remember,
right?
we laughed and we laughed. So yeah, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. The emperor's got new clothes. You know, that is so poignant that people are frightened to speak up for offending people. And I think at the minute, in today's world, I think we're at both ends of that spectrum. We've got people who just want to speak up all the time and don't care about anybody's feelings. And then we've got people who are too frightened to speak up because they worry about upsetting anybody's feelings. But we have to come in the middle and find a medium. We have to know when it's a good time to speak up and speak out. And honesty's always got to be the best policy. Can be honest without being brutal. You know, there's ways and means to do that. But it's always good to speak up so that you can challenge people. And my husband regularly does me when I've said something. If he wants to call it out, and I'm like, well, you know, where's that belief come from, or why do I think that? And sometimes I'll be like, well, you know, this is what's underpinning it. But other times I'll really stop and think, where's that come from? You know, and is that really right? And I think we should be able to do that in a gentle way with other people, so that we can make them stop and evaluate where their core beliefs have come from, and are they really their own? Because often, unless we become conscious of core beliefs, we're just running on autopilot. And often these beliefs aren't even ours. They're borrowed from our parents when we were younger. So it takes, you know, if somebody can call you out, then it can make you stop and evaluate. But unless we become conscious ourselves and think, why do I think that? We tend to run on that autopilot. So yeah, you know, the emperor hasn't got any clothes on. Let's call it out, call it for what it is. But let's be gentle with it. You know, let's be gentle with people when we do that, because I think we need to, there's not a lot of empathy in the world, and we need to understand how it will make that other person feel and be very aware of their feelings. But at the same time, we do need to speak up and be honest, but choose our words carefully.
No, I think that's excellent insights. And what I'm advocating, since, you know, I've always been on my own. You know, I had one job when I was 15 and never worked for somebody again. And it's to create your own custom opportunity. You know, it's like if you ever wanted your dream house, right? Before you knew it, you'd have a list that would, you know, that you like view, big living room, whatever it was, you'd have a list and you start checking things off. And if you were building it custom, you wouldn't have to settle. Well, whatever opportunities you've had or have, does it align with the ultimate opportunity that you deserve, you believe, and will make you better for pursuing it than you are now? It just has to be better. Something doesn't have to be extremely awful to move somebody to the next step, right? It could be a constant evolution, an enjoyable process. And the reason I think I've been successful in the past is I had single focus and single direction, right? And if that's all I applied my time and energy to, I wasn't engaged in none of the external, noisy, distracting stuff, you know? And this, like that story I had told and didn't know it's been repeated a couple times about stone soup. And I don't know who's heard it or hasn't, but it's really starting to relate to this. Is there was a village and everybody was going hungry. Nobody had a really good meal in a long time. And it was just really getting hard on everyone. And this one lady figured that what she could provide is there was a river so she could get water and a rock. And she put it in a pot and started boiling it. And before you know it, another lady had 2 carrots, you know, and somebody had some cabbage and somebody had a little bit of meat. And before you knew it, they had the most bountiful meal you could possibly have, because together they could make that. Separate, they were looking at a carrot or 2, right? And if you look at what we're doing here, started with, I didn't know what I was doing. When I went live the first time, I was on record and I was the only person who watched it and didn't know it. But it only could get better from that. And that was my beginning story, because you always got to start with a before, right? Because it makes it more interesting when you fill in the after. Is all of a sudden doing it every day, people wondering what's this person doing, right? So you build curiosity, then you build attendance, right? Where people watch but don't participate. Then you build participation. And then they get on the show, and then they get their show, right? And it starts with being that attraction by giving everything you have all the time you can. I mean, it needs momentum, it needs push, and you don't want to be the reason it didn't happen because you left something behind. So what do you think about all that, Sarah?
Yeah, and the other thing it builds, Donald, is trust, as you've said previously. You know, people know, when people know that you're going to be there every day at the same time, and they, like you said, they start building curiosity and coming just to see, maybe popping out, realizing that you've got quality, you've got all those guests, you're doing a whole range of different people on the show with different opinions, different life experiences. It's about sharing all that information to help.
Well, a little technical issue again, but
Other people, because we don't know who's listening.
well, and to that point, if you don't know who's listening
And who's taking that message?
well, I hope I'm not frozen. So anyways, this is, looks like we're having issues on both sides. I know you all are feeling for us, but the key again, and that's the benefit of doing things for the audience, the comments are still being addressed, and the core people are hanging in there. Are both frozen now? Okay, good. I don't know if that's good, but so, any other comments, questions? I know we have some more time. Okay. And really focusing on what we talked about a little bit earlier today is one's ability to get their message out. And that's, the thing is so many people are working on content and they're not working on audience. They're not promoting,
Yeah.
they're not sharing. Go, if you can come in anytime, Sarah, if you're coming through.
Yeah, I've just found a way to pull the comments up on my phone.
Oh, good.
So I'm just like, yeah, you trust yourself. Alex says, and we all need to be, call out the bullshit. Dean says, who's listening? We know who's commenting for sure, but we don't listening, and we don't know who they know. And people talk to people, and start spreading that out. People see us, we show up. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we need, and we'll get to know who we are coming on the show, and you are every day because of you showing up. So it's about growing that audience, but speaking from the soul. So you show up as your authentic self.
Yeah, that's so true. And when you decide to do something every day, what you're showing is commitment, right? I mean, when you commit to something every day, there is no room for mistakes. Either you're there or you're not. And the question then becomes, why is he there? Why is he doing something and not selling anything? I don't have any services I want to provide because I'm into messaging. One-on-one is not a good ratio, right? 500 people who will watch this today for an hour and get pieces of it. They don't have to get the whole thing like one-on-one. They just got to get a takeaway, a thought, an inspiration, a friend. It's all here. When someone opens the door, walk through. That's it's like, what else can you ask for? There's a buffet. Help yourself, get to know some of these people, and these people are here because they need help or want to do better or whatever the case. All people have to say is do something respectful to someone else. Be courteous and be polite and say something about them that makes you want to get to know them better. What's the reason for setting up a Zoom? And if you say, I read your stuff, I watched your stuff, I did whatever it is, saw your comments, I just wanted to say hello and see if we could share insights, right? Those are huge opportunities. You got a week's worth of work here if you just want to connect with people. And here's the other thing. What would you do if you had 10 new best friends who were into what you're into, were supporting what you're into and supporting you and want to support more of others? That's here, and that's what I see. And that's why I'm doing a newsletter. I'm going to open more slots. I'm going to have theme shows. I want to get everybody their own show. I'm on the hunt, and if nothing else, the journey is so unbelievable because there's so much to work with that I have no ownership of, right? I don't have any interest in the platform. Go ahead, Sarah.
And you built, sorry, I just wanted to add on that, John, that you built a community as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it started with,
I connected to several people through here.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing, Sarah.
We're just building and building and building.
I didn't know any of these people 3 weeks ago either. That's the beauty of it. And
Fabulous.
They keep coming. And right, because it's what they get, not who we are. And by having so many wonderful people like Sarah, and I can name them, but you can see them, so they're familiar to you too. I'm not telling you a story that you're not already experiencing. But the key is, do you want to go on a magic carpet ride? if it pulled up to your door, would you like to open your horizons, be with some fabulous people that will insulate you from a lot of things that have caused you challenge, and maybe give you a lifeboat, right? It's so much easier to leave something worse when something better pulls up to the curb, versus jumping out of a building and hoping you grow wings before you hit the ground. So, we got some comments. Okay, Alex is in. I commit to supporting Don and everyone else who is good by association. Well, that's a step forward. What I don't love is when I get an email that says, "Hi, anybody with me?" Especially when it comes from a guy, usually doesn't end well. Just a word of advice to guys that may do that. It may come off the wrong way. It is the wrong way. So, whether it comes off the wrong way, and that's the thing, is who got time for superficial, disrespectful, unreliable people? You're just going to get more of what you're leaving instead of finding your own group and getting off into an island onto yourself. Let people know how to get there. Let me get it. Okay, that looks better.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
And a big thing that you're doing here, Don, is you are giving to the community. You are not selling. And another thing, like Christina said, when people, predominantly guys, but I've had women do it to me too. They just come in, "Hi, how are you?" And then the next email after that is a sales pitch. But some people just come on, "Thanks for connecting, and I'm selling this." Here, you're not selling anything. You are giving to the community. And there's no pressure and there's no sales pitch. And for me, that is just amazing that we can just have this conversation and build this community, and that all we're selling really is friendship. We're just building connections to help each other out. We're not on with that massive sales pitch. "Buy from me, I've got this, I've got this." No, this is what I do. This is where I'm at. But I'm here to help people, to help them to grow, to do what we can for people, to give advice, to support them. It's about help. It's about community.
Yeah, and it's about the community, again, that you build like a custom home, and if you have more people coming and being attracted to you, you're the chooser. You're not on the block and someone says, "Okay, I'll buy your time," and now you got to do what I need, and then it changes, right? Depending on what it is, but it's purely transactional. When you have an audience of 500 that will show up every day at the beginning of what you're doing, and I know progressions, I know trends, I know how 500 to turn into 50,000. But the thing is once it's like a snowball going up a hill. It seems to take forever to get there. On the way down, you can't stop it. And this is already over. I mean, that point. Now, the opportunity really comes to, what Christine was saying, because of that, because of so much imbalance in the way people talk to people in the crowd platform, where everybody's throwing posts and comments and likes, and it's just busy, just real busy. And you think you did a lot because you actually did do a lot, but you're not going to get a return because it's too superficial. Nobody knows you. Nobody's going to get to know you. You're not going to know those people. But on LinkedIn Live, you can't hide. And, I've also been fortunate. I've had really big successes as far as numbers go. And to take small change, and I'm not minimizing it or majoring the minors, or what they used to say, stepping over dollars to pick up pennies, is it's like fishing. Let the little ones stay let the big ones stay in. You don't need to take everything that you can. You can give back or leave it. But what this is going to do is it's going to give everybody a better approach, that maybe we can infuse LinkedIn, at least to people who are tired of the same thing everybody else is tired of, to, spend their time with like-minded people and get off of LinkedIn with them. You know, this is not a LinkedIn program. This is leveraging the LinkedIn platform with the access to the LinkedIn people. And that's the beauty of it. They give you the telephone, they give you everybody in membership access to, and all you got to decide is your message and what's going to make people want to share what you're doing with others who are like-minded. Andrea says, whoop, whoop, amazing. Andrea's amazing. Let me tell you, how about what's your name? Yeah, you know, I don't like it either. You know, it makes it harder for everybody who's trying to be a good citizen and do the right thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, well, we never miss a beat. So, you know, that's important. So what do you think, Sarah? Okay. Tamara, great. Great to see you. I'm a children's book author. I think you were on another show, an illustrator. Well, that's terrific. Sarah, are you back?
I'm back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure
okay.
What, Christine, can you elaborate on can you elaborate on that? I miss Sarah. Absence makes, oh, as in you miss me? Because I keep going in and out?
I think she misses
very
you from not seeing you week to week.
Oh, we're expecting rain, so there must be some turbulent air about or something interrupting my signal because I'm having to come off my phone. But
Yeah, so,
but
oh
yeah,
no, where are you? Tell everybody where you're located, Sarah.
I'm in Spain, near 40 minutes away from Alicante, and we don't get rain very often. But we do 4 days of rain, which I'm really happy about. But it's interrupting my signal.
Well,
But
you're coming through good now. So what got you to Spain?
my husband's father has lived here for over 20 years, and I came home from work one day 6 years ago, and he said, "Should we move to Spain?" So we're just like, "Well, okay, why not?" You know, just you make your life by what you do. You know, so it's like, so let's jump into that and see what happens. And that was about 6 years ago. We made the decision, moved over here about 5.5 years ago, and been here ever since. But life is what you make it. You know, we moved to America and we lived there for 2 years as well. But it for us, it wasn't a way of life that we were accustomed to. So we went back to the UK. But make your life your own. Grow it how you want it to grow. Jump into the unknown at times. You know, take those risks. At the end of the day, people said, "Well, what if you don't like it?" Well, we'll just go back to England. It's not a problem. You know, jump into, follow your passions, do what you want to do. Stop making excuses. You know, it's easy to say. So many people said to me, "You're safe moving to America." Why? Why brave? I'm just going there. We applied for green cards, we got them, moved there. It wasn't for us, so we moved back. There's no shame in moving back. You know, we've had an experience. We get loads of experience from moving to America and buying.
Well, and to your point, Sarah.
An RV and traveling all over Florida for the
Yeah, and I think, you know, really what you're communicating is there's a bigger risk
working.
to not doing.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm saying, to your point, the people who say, "What are you doing?" like it's a risk.
Then
You're a little frozen, I think. There, you're coming back. Well, I think what people have to appreciate, there's a risk to not doing something as well as doing something. And if you don't do something when you have an opportunity, it makes it easier to continue not to do something going forward. Andrea says home is where the heart is. And she's so absolutely right. I always found it's who you're with, not where you're at. You can make anywhere a home if you've got the family that supports you, and whether that's friends or real family. But everybody's got a chance to do things and reinvent themselves with who they want to be right now, right? It's like change your look, change your direction, change your company. Because what Sarah's saying is, and I had the same experience. I left Detroit. I had a business. All my family was there. And I decided to come out to Colorado, and they couldn't believe it, how I could do something like that. And I said the same thing as Detroit will let me back in, and if nothing else, I'll see what it was, but I'll see it for myself, right? Instead of someone telling me who never left Detroit their whole life. And that's really the key. And you feel better when you take those leaps, because it shows you're not sitting there with what ifs in your mind for a long time, or why didn't I? And sometimes you just know, fast forward, it's not going to take you where you want to go, or the people you're with, you've outgrown. Some people get to where you are, but they're not going to be able to take you where you want to go, because they're not going there. They're going to where they already are. So moving and having the ability to meet people like Andrea and Christine and on and on and on. And in 2 weeks, there'll be twice as many. And then it'll get bigger. And the pool and the talent and the richness will continue to improve. Andrea says, I think I need to find a warm place myself. So cold here today. Well, it was like -6 here like 3 days ago. And now it's golf weather in Colorado. That's here we go. That looks best yet.
There you go. You froze, and then and so I'm on the line by myself. I'm thinking, can anybody hear me? I don't know. It just must have dropped out again as the storms, the rain.
Yeah, no, the signal here looks great now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the sound is perfect. It just shows you just got to keep plugging, and keep trying and never quit. And I think that's the key: persistency, patience, not worrying about yourself all the time. You can't preoccupy yourself with yourself forever, because there's no limit to it. There's always something. And if you get totally absorbed, totally infused with wonderful people, right? And it's a party from the beginning. You can't wait to get back to the party, because everything else looks pretty dull and miserable. And, I think that's the beauty of sunshine, is it looks so much brighter after you're through the clouds. And, now everybody is old enough, mature enough. They should know better. They should know themselves enough at this point where they could take off some of the harnesses and burdens that people placed on them, right? Either through unkind words or best intentions, but really didn't know what they were doing or talking about. They're trying, doing their best. But now it's a time where they can't be responsible for your future. They might have been responsible for your past, right? But here's the day you decide, I'm going to go that way with that group, or I'm going to create a group. If you can't have one, if you don't have one and you can't create one, join one. Right? And then build from there. And then from there, you'll find a core that, you can plant and see it grow. I mean, it's nature. Most people plant and most people then cultivate, but they don't go to harvest. Right? Or they go to harvest before they plant and cultivate. And either way, it has a set way that it works the best. And that's why I never wanted to cultivate until I tested it, that it had real value first. And I wanted to be passionate about it. There's things you can make money at that'll rob your soul forever, right? And then you'll look at what you got from it and say, this is And you're going to find it didn't make you happy. Because if it would have made you happy, what you had already would have been happy, right? But if it's a bigger table, it's a bigger car. When I got to minimalism, I saved my life from so much, because what I learned is when you got things, they got you, right? You get 5 cars, pretty soon you're taking care of 5 cars, and you're figuring where to park them and what to insure them. That's not me. I don't want it. I don't care. You know what I mean? I want to do what I can do best, and what makes me feel like no matter how early I wake up, I can't wait to get going. You know, how many people say, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night? Why? Because of what you're looking forward to, right? If someone's going to give you the greatest honor of your life, you'd be there with bells on, right? I mean, and time would be timeless, and you'd forget to eat and sleep and feel okay about it. So what do you think about all these interesting thoughts?
I think society is conditioning us to be bigger and better and have bigger houses and bigger cars. And as some people buy into that and feel, well, you know, I've got to have this status to be accepted by society. But actually, why? You know, like yourself, we don't have lots of things. We're not fully minimalist, but we've certainly pared down a lot of things that we used to have. And happiness isn't about stuff. You know, some stuff can make your life easier, but happiness comes from the inside. So a lot of people look outside for it. And yes, buying some things or going on a holiday can make you feel happy, but that happiness is transient. When the holiday's over, it's done, finished. When you've got used to that stuff that you've bought, it's like, well, you know, the happiness associated with that is now gone. And what's the next thing that I can buy to bring me happiness? But all the while, it's inside of us. And we have to go inside and find in our soul and nurture it. You know, what really makes us happy? Nature, the sunshine, relationships, dancing, talking, whatever it is. It doesn't have to cost me, but it's finding those things that nourish our soul, rather than going out and buying just stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And being kind of a little bit more experienced, growing up, kids didn't have what they got today. You know,
Wow.
You might have a ball, you know what I mean? You might have something like that, but it was always the kids around you and what you did with it. It wasn't that it was expensive. It just gave you a reason to be together and play. And I think people have lost that playfulness, right? Have lost that teaming up with like-minded people. And, you know, when you know, and Kelly's here says yes with all kinds of an elongated yes. And Kelly has been fundamental to this program becoming what it is, because from the beginning, she's been a weekly guest, and through her, Christy has come through, and Kim, who I just talked to last week. So people are talking to their best friends. I mean, through Sarah, I met Andrea. Through Andrea, I'll meet someone else. And wouldn't you like the best friends of your best friends to also be your best friends? You know, instead of dealing with strangers and fishing through the pool and then filtering, it's way too much work. This is where it's at. I'm so excited by seeing who's going to come on the show tomorrow. And, you know, every business plan I ever wrote never factored into things I knew for sure to be true, is things I've yet to learn in the coming year and people I've yet to meet. And when you factor that in, you're not alone. And I think that's what people want to get out of, is me, myself, and I, and focus on it. Christine, are the folks, okay, talks about entrepreneurs, may go down the road. Well, I think today, no matter who signs your check, you're working for yourself. So everybody's an entrepreneur. You might be having your own business name or working under somebody else's, but you're only as good as your next thought and what comes out of your mouth, no matter where you are, right? And I think this gives you an opportunity to build multiple streams of income. And that's what you want to do, is just get full value when you know you've given full value, right? If you make a transaction, you ask the person, is this exactly what you ordered? And is this what you want? And when they say yes, then it's easier to say, well, then, that's the charge. And if someone says no, then it's easier to go back and not charge. There was a story of Nordstrom's when they first started, a department store in the Northwest. And they had this tremendously liberal return policy. And someone says, they took back four tires that were used the other day. And the person says, well, that's interesting because they don't even sell tires, and they took them back. So, but you see, maybe they threw out a few $100, but that story is going to have legs forever, right? And continue to tell the story of Nordstrom. So you're telling your story. Do you want to sell it cheaply when the first word that comes out of your mouth? Or you're willing to give people a chance and you a chance to qualify everything first, right? Because then the key, and that's what I'm trying to build, is sustainability, duplicatability, and scalability. Because to me, I like building measure twice, cut once. But when you got open field, you don't look back, right? And this is going to be so exhilarating. And the beauty of it, too, is LinkedIn will support it. This is exactly what they want on their platform. And they know all the challenges that people give each other, all the difficulty. They'd love to see 1,000 people doing LinkedIn Lives an hour with messaging like that. And that's what I think we can create as a network, where I'm already filled up in slots for the next 2 weeks. I could fill up for the year, is add another themed group, and eventually have a programming from 8 to 5 every hour in a different area, maybe entrepreneurs, who knows what. But it's all going to be driven by the people. And all we're going to do is facilitate, bring in the people who can help them most, they can relate to, give them a platform, and find their way to start them so fast. It's like self-publishing, but it's better. Okay, more. We'll stay a little bit longer because Sarah's in great form now with technology. More does not equal better. Chasing dollars and status is a dead end and doesn't fill the void. Usually what's missing is more spiritual connection to nature and others. Fill the void with the right things. The rest will follow. So right.
Absolutely.
If money was the thing, the people with money would be happier. So even if you haven't gotten, look at the people who have and look at what they're into. More money. People worry about money all the time, and they run out of time before they run out of money, and if they think of what they're spending their time and the money in self-worth, in things that you can't buy are the things that are most valuable. Money comes, money goes, believe me. And, everything on earth you have is on loan. You can't take it with you.
Yeah.
Have a great
There's a
day.
saying, you can always get more money, but you can always get more time.
Absolutely. And the thing about the money is, I'm not against making money. I think I'm going to make $1 zillion doing this, but it's going to be from LinkedIn, not from just people listening, and then people can go to work with proficiency in what they hear as far as motivation, could make enough money to justify paying something so it can be supported, right? Because eventually sustainability and improvements, because I can see, so many things, and we don't have all the time, but it's coming, it's coming by the day. Nick says, what a great idea. Yeah, sometimes everything is there. You just got to find a way to put it all together, find how it fits. You got like 3 great pieces, and it is really like one of those jigsaw puzzles where it takes forever to put the outside on. You're looking for the ones with the straight edge, and then eventually the inside just fills itself out. you know, and I talk like that because I'm always with my 10 and 12-year-old grandkids, and puzzles, board games, anything you can touch, you know, we're playing, you know, anything to get everybody off of the screens for a while. And it's so much fun. And now they're into card games. And you know what I'd rather do? I'd rather look through the eyes of a 10-year-old and see that world than share my eyes with them to see what's yet to come. And everybody can get more innocent together, you know, and be more playful. And I think that's the key, is let's play hard, but play for fun, but play with respect for everybody and everything. And, you know, courtesy makes so much difference to so many people because it's so scarce and it's so easy to do. You almost have to stop yourself when you notice something beautiful about somebody and decide, well, how will they take it if I tell them exactly how I feel? Right? And nobody gets anything, you know? And that's what Mario cracked me up this week. And if you haven't seen Mario's episode, every episode you can go back and see. I got 200 straight at least. And his thing was, he went in, he's from Marseille, France. And he went into a grocery store and saw a guy on the ground or having an issue. And he went to get what he called a trolley. I never heard of that term. And what happened is the guy said, that's my trolley, and got into a real huffy thing. And there was like hundreds of trolleys. So, you know, Mario saw he was having a hard day, and he went up to him and says, hey, can I give you a hug? You know, I see you're having a hard day. And it changed the whole thing. And he actually came back when Mario was in the store and apologized to him and told him I was having a bad day. And sometimes that hug is life-changing, and it's yours to give if it's yours to see, right? Christine says money is simply a tool, not meant to be worshiped. Yeah, you know, money is money. That's all it is. Just like a coat is a coat and a car is a car, you know. But you find out some of your best experience in life is when you didn't have any, you know, when you made do with something, or you went on a trip and you figured out how to eat on $5 a day or something, you know. And those are the things that you never forget. And I think if you carry them with you and say, if it happened before, why not go back to what happened then? And the last thing with the money side is there's a saying, I've been broke, but I've never been broken, you know. And being broke is just a number, right? Plus or minus on the balance sheet. Being broken is a serious issue. And that's how I look at it. And if every way you look at it still doesn't work, if you believe something happened so something better could happen for a better reason tomorrow, right? Then that puts it to bed, right? It is what it is, and it's whatever you want to add to it for as long as you want to add, versus taking it, making a friend of it, or saying goodbye to it, whatever. What's your thoughts, Sarah? I know we're coming to the end. This has been great. I loved how it finished with you being technologically perfect.
I like your bit about the children. Children just got a way to help us or remind us how to have fun. You know, we do things that we might not have otherwise done if there's a child involved. And they do remind us what we can do, what we're capable of, and how to have fun, you know. And it is the simple things like doing jigsaws or playing outside, or, you know, there's so much that we can do. We just have to remember that, because we can get too stuck in a life that we're just trying to make more money, or trying to get higher up the corporate ladder, or trying to improve our life. But actually, you know, why don't we just look at what we can do to have more fun in our life as well at the same time?
Well, and if you don't have to make as much, you don't have to do the certain things that will make you that much, right? So, you know, during this COVID thing, a lot of people who came home figured out between the extra car, between cleaning, between clothes, between time, between childcare, they were not netting anything, right? And if someone says, if I'm doing this for that, and if I didn't need that, would I have to do this? You start taking away something that's being done for a reason that doesn't match. And pretty soon that's where conflict starts to show up. Is now everybody owns you and you have none of yourself, and you're stuck because you're conditioned to think, well, if I sold the house and moved in with my sister, what would everybody think? But that might give you the money and the time to say, hey, I can now be an artist. I can take a year off. And there's nothing saying you can't pause. Enjoy where you're at. Don't always have to climb. Sometimes move down, because if you're grown up, you can still be a child. I mean, I'm going over to my daughter's house in about 3 hours, and we get together. I've been there every day for the last 4 days, for dinner. Because here's one thing, that was my daughter's only house. So she was born there, and then she bought the house when we moved from there.
Nice.
So coming back home, and I think you build that by putting it out there that's what you're into, and then let the universe bring the people to you, right? So you don't have to go out with people. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we think, we project. So if we think we need more and we worry about loss, we're not going to project a good thing into the future, because it's all based on worry and fear of loss. But if we project love, I mean, ultimately, that's all there is just love for ourselves, love for others, love for the things that we've got, the experiences we've had. We just keep projecting love, we're going to attract more love. And if we project abundance, we can be abundant in relationships, we can be abundant in love. We don't have to be abundant in monetary values. A lot of people think when you talk about abundance, people associate it with money, but it doesn't have to be. Just a roof over our head and food in the fridge. We're abundant, we're rich. So it's about what we project out and we feel about what we've got. And gratitude plays a huge part in that. I mean, we could always have more, absolutely, but equally we could always have less. So let's just have gratitude for what we've got now, and be thankful that we have got something, a roof over our head and food in our fridge and a bed to sleep in, because a lot of people haven't got that.
Oh, more than you think. Yeah. And I think the key to that, in closing, is if you're grateful and happy for what you have, you don't have to do anything to make it whole again, right? If you start at least whole, and then sometimes you could start ahead of the game, and that gives you some room to share, right? Because more makes more sense when you're giving more beyond what you need. They say to be rich is all you need is $1 more than you could spend, right? If you have $1 more than you could spend, that's all. What would you need, right? So anyways, I think we covered a lot of ground. It looks like we sure moved to different places based on different but that's the exciting thing, because you never know what you're going to say, what you're going to hear, and who you're going to hear it from. So with that, I guess it's time to say goodbye. We're an hour and 11 minutes, but it sure seemed to go fast, and really enjoyed it. So you want to say goodbye, Sarah?
Thank you, everybody, for being with us today, and for all your comments. And I hope we've given you something to think about and something that you could take away too. Yes, me too. With that, have a wonderful day ahead or evening, depending on where you are. And we'll talk again tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. Bye for now.